go. Hey guys, welcome to another rich-studded episode of BTC 2.0, Behind the Counter 2.0. This week I talked to toy guy, YouTuber, and all-around great guy, Yimbo Reviews Everything. I think, like most of us nerds slash collectors, we tend to be all in when it comes to the stuff that we love. And not only do I love comics, but yeah, I'm into figures too. It kind of goes hand in hand. I've always had a decent figure collection, ever since I was a kid. Pretty much kept everything. Which I think a lot of us do. But I had to take a break a few years ago. Like getting married and starting a small business will do that to you. But, I always kind of kept my peepers peeled for cool stuff out there. And my brother would always show me like cool stuff that he was getting or stuff that was coming out. And then not too long ago, a few years ago, I should say, time goes so fast. I got sucked back in a little bit at first, and now I've kind of built like this pretty neat collection of stuff again. And listen, the figures now are ridiculous. Everything that's coming out is pretty much rocking and rolling. And speaking of collecting, this past week I was in San Diego to talk about a treasure trove of comic and collectible shops. I visited Comics and Stuff, Comic-Casey, Southern California Comics, Now or Never Comics, and Yesteryear Comics. Now or Never Comics was my favorite stop. It was recommended to me by Pat Loika, our guest on last week's show. And man, what a store. They pointed me in the right direction of other shops. We had a great chat. Even though I didn't buy anything, it was a great chat about toys and comics and action figures and like just the nostalgia and like the retro stuff and where to get Silver Age books. And, he was pointing me in the right directions of like these other shops and everything, it was very chill. It was awesome. Like I wish we had that many stores in such a close drivable distance here, but listen, it's always great to get out of your neighborhood, get on a plane and go visit some shops, go to conventions and do all that fun stuff. One of my favorite stops was also the San Diego Super 7 store. It's a sister store to their San Francisco store, and what a great boutique shop, man. And talk about like the nostalgic elements of what they're putting out right now. And I think myself and I would say like a lot of my contemporaries, like we're in that demo, like we grew up with Thundercats, Transformers, Ninja Turtles, and all this stuff is on display, like all these beautiful figures, the reaction figures. I ended up picking up a bunch of stuff, got some New Japan figures, got one of the worst figures, Captain Deadstar, got some other merch. It was great. I went back twice. I could have probably gone back a third day. I didn't want it to eat up all my trip. And also, side note on the trip, had a lot of tacos, not regretting it. Anyway, Jim and I talk a lot about the addictiveness of action figure collecting, plus chat about some of our favorite figures, and also stick around for the post show. If you're watching this on YouTube, we do a little bit of a figure collab. This is the first time I'm doing this. We do figure photos of one of my favorite characters and one of my favorite Mezco figures, Blade. So stay tuned, suckheads. Here's my chat with Yimbo Reviews Everything. Hey guys, what's going on? It's Rich, and with me today is Jim from Yimbo Reviews Everything. What's going on, dude?
Oh, you know from like our little just pre-recording. I'm amped up, man. I'm so like honored to be asked to be here. I know that this is a different foray from how I was introduced to you through Mat Men and the wrestling worlds. But when I discovered that you were a toy fan and toy photographer, I'm like, oh my God, dude, we bumped into each other at Comic-Con a couple of years ago. So like to have this now, man, I'm so honored to be here. This is so cool. Thank you very much.
Listen, I really appreciate those kind words. Tell me more. No. So yeah, listen, like I this is a show I've been doing like pretty much for like a year and a half, maybe 2 years. And like the whole point of this is like, I really want to just interview at least 100 people that I really like, creators, etc. And, like we got to know each other through the other podcast, Mat Men, which is great. And, your stuff is fantastic. Like I love your page and you're an action figure guy. And I've been wanting to get action figure folks on the show. And I figured what better place to start than you, because, like we kind of know each other, right? Like at least through happenstance or the internet or whatever, like one of the positive things of the internet. And like I love the stuff on your page and it's great. How did you get into the action figures?
Oh man, so how far back do we want to go?
let's go back to the beginning, because I'm sure we have like parallel stories,
So yeah. So this is something that if you would like to check, for anybody watching, if you end up enjoying this and want to check out my YouTube channel, the show is kind of like this. I do a stream every Sunday night where it's like show and tell, and I have a million different toys by me that I can grab at any different points. So like I always tell people, like the Superpowers Batman, Secret Wars Spidey.
Ooh.
God, I had this Keaton. I have a T-shirt now of this shirt design.
That's one of my favorites. That came with the coupe, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well,
that was my favorite car.
The coupe is my favorite Batmobile. That one came with the purple shirt. This was like the Solo, and I have the stuff over here too. But like with the mask that pops on and the chest protector, it's insane. So I've always been a toy fan. From I like to say 3 is like my earliest memories, and then I went through that phase, like in talking to people the last couple of years, that we kind of all did. Like we grew up. Like I'm 40. And like there was that time when you hit 12, 13 when it didn't become cool. Like it wasn't a thing. So I became like I'd still play, try to like do wrestling matches and stuff at home, and you feel your imagination slipping away. And you have to start caring about girls and sports and all the other things that we were like told to care about at that age. And like I switched to like collectibles. Like I have like a Thanos gauntlet, and I started getting some bigger things. I have the Back to the Future hoverboard from Mattel from like 15 years ago. Yeah. So I started getting like bigger pieces like that. And then I guess just like, I mean, many people, for me, it was December 2019. I was moving, and it was carrying these tubs that I've been buying of toys from like 2005. Like when I started teaching, I had a, big boy paycheck. And I started going every Tuesday to see a movie with my buddy, and then we go to Toys R Us. So I started buying all these
fantastic
Toy Biz Marvel Legends, the classic Spider-Man figures, like all sorts of stuff. And when we moved, I'm like, God, I've been lugging these things around for like for 15 years, like to different locations, my apartment, my parents' house, this house. And I'm like, we should do something. Maybe I'll just turn Yimbo Reviews Everything into like toy stuff. I'll just focus on one thing, because the everything kind of became a lot. And like they tell you as a content creator to pick your niche, your niche, or whatever. So I'm like, yeah, I guess toys have been a constant in my life forever and ever. And when I discovered toy photography, it was like, wait, this is a thing. This is so like, I guess I didn't think about it in terms of it being this art form. It was like, oh, I'll just snap figure shelves, pictures, or like here's pictures of toys in boxes. But I'm like, oh, I can like tell stories with this. There's a whole nother avenue. So for me, it was around it was a slow build from like 2020. Then all the things happened, and I just fell into this whole world deep and hard. So that's it.
It's tough not to, and like it has been referred to as like plastic crack, by like a lot of people. And it's funny, like I don't know if you're into like hip hop at all.
Oh yeah.
But Pharoah Monch.
Yeah, dude.
He is so. I was telling my wife about this like last week. I was like, Pharoah Monch is like a huge figure guy, and it's like all awesome. Over his page. He's got so much cool stuff, and it's like even he says he's like, yeah, this is like plastic crack, like it's an addiction.
It is. And I know I was telling you right before the show, but like Matt Men, this is the show you do with Andrew, like it is that has I've been listening to you guys now for closing in on 10 years, but however long you've been doing it, I've been there like early on. And you guys like gave me confidence to be able to stream and be myself and not have to put on pretenses and everything, because like it's like just hanging out with you guys with like that. So I've tried to replicate that as in my stuff. It's just me talking about things I like. I'm not trying to I always tell people I'm not trying to get them to spend their money or their time. Like we're all people. Just do your thing. If you enjoy what I'm doing, cool. But
man, that honestly, like I'll be serious for like 2 seconds. That really does mean the world to me, and I really appreciate those words, man. That's fantastic. Please continue.
Oh no, I could shower you guys. I could spend this whole time talking about how much I love you guys.
We'll put that on Patreon.
all right, that sounds good. But even like my mentality about toys, and I can credit you guys because it was something that you guys talked about, where it's like and you do it with wrestling, and you still talk about this to this, your last episode was just like, if you don't like something, it just means it wasn't for you. And
Right.
I've adopted
Yeah.
that, and it's made me such a happier person. Where it's like, oh, it wasn't like a personal attack on my fandom. Like, it just,
Yeah.
this thing wasn't for me as this 40-year-old bearded dude. Like, that's okay. Like, I could just enjoy other stuff. So that's what I try to do.
Yeah. No, it's good. Listen, like, I always felt like you don't really need to be like a toxic person or a toxic fan. And I think, like, it's a shame that you get a lot of toxic fandom across like the comic book stuff and across the wrestling stuff too. There's like, it's very interesting how it's like, nothing is ever good enough for anybody. The toy stuff I think is weird though, because like, you don't have to buy it, like,
Right.
you could see, it's not like where it's like, it's not a live event where, like, if you're watching wrestling on TV and you're like, oh, I don't like the way they did that, fine. But if you're in a store and you see the thing and you buy it and then you complain about it, I think that's just like, that's bizarre to me,
Dude, I know my channel's Yimbo Reviews Everything. My stream is Yimbo Buys Everything, because that's how it felt for me. I did not,
Okay.
but I felt that way where I was having toys delivered almost every single day for a while. Like, it was definitely that stretch. And I'm happy that I'm at this place now where, like I said, I don't feel like I need everything. And I want to enjoy the stuff I'm spending my hard-earned money on. I want to be able to. I don't want to hate a thing that I brought into my house to deal with. I want to like it. So yeah,
I'm a weirdo. I'm a weirdo when it comes to that stuff. So like, I'll get like a bunch. Let's say I'll get like a bunch of stuff from like Big Bad Toy Store, right?
Right.
I'll leave it in my pile of loot. And for those who are listening, the way it works is like, you can order stuff on this website. And they don't offer affiliate programs, which I found out because they actually got back to me. So shameless plug for Big Bad Toy Store, which I like. Maybe one day. But so if you're listening to this and you don't really know about that system, is like, you can order a million things and you could send it to a loot box on the website and ship it to yourself whenever you want.
Right.
That's usually what I do. Like, I'll do a bunch of pre-orders, shell out the cash, boom, it's in the thing. And then I'll get an alert saying like, hey, you have like 5 days to ship these things to your house. So I'll get like a big box of stuff.
Yeah.
And I won't open anything for a while, because I get like, I feel like, I know I'm not the only one out there that does this, but like, for example, like, I got in the last one, in one of the last crates, I got the this right here, the Tekken King figure,
Yeah.
And I love these. Like, I love the Storm Collectibles figures. I think they're awesome. Yes, they are a little pricey, but like, I don't know. I think they're worth it, in like, for posability, and like, they just look really cool.
Yeah.
And it was sitting there forever. And then my wife's like, oh, is that a new figure? And I'm like, it's been sitting there for like 3 weeks. And then like 2 weeks later, she's like, oh, did you just get that? And I'm like, that's the same one. It's been sitting there for like 2 weeks. And then one day I'm like, ooh, I'm going to have a beer, and then I'm going to open this figure, and then I'm going to enjoy it. Like, do you do the same thing? Or is it because you have the show and the stream, are you like, no, I need to open these things immediately, display them, and play with them?
Well, this is good, because this is tying back into, like, I try to talk authentically about what I go through. And I do think that there is that addictive nature to this, and I feel like it's one of those, just like anything in life, if you understand it and you can have a balance. I try to live my life in the gray area, like, I try to have a good time, try not to, so yeah, I am definitely hooked on opening new toys. I'm hooked on it. I love that feeling, but I'm with you where I try to space it out. And for me, it's in the name of content. It's like, all right, I should film a reel for this, or an unboxing, or I should remember to do, like, it's just the stuff that, like, when you're in the creator mode, you have to think of these things. So it's like, I stop myself, not so much of willpower, but because of I have to film a thing, or I have to think about it. So, like, for instance, last night, I did open a couple new toys that I was going to talk about this week on my show, but give you a little taste. So I had the He Who Remains, and I had this classic Kang, and I had to do, this is like an obligatory head swap that everybody's doing right now.
Yeah.
So, like, like, I just wanted to open some new toys. Like, so yeah, there is that mode where I was like, I'm not going to film anything right now. I just want to open a couple. So usually it's Legends now. If it's something like a Mezco or a Mayfec, something, in the more high-end premium range, I will really wait until I can set myself up.
Yeah, yeah. Well, with the Mezcos, it's interesting because like there's three Mezcos, I should say, that I have in their box, and they're like they're here. Like
Okay.
this is like my little office, and like
Yeah.
I'll shoot you a picture of like what the rest of it looks like. It's like my weird secret like hidey hole. Like only like honestly, like I think my brother, apart from my wife, because
Yeah.
we live together, I think my brother and maybe one other friend has seen this room, and it's literally like I'm 41. It's almost it's like a lifetime's worth of collecting between comics and figures and posters and like all this shit.
Yeah.
But I have the Nemo Mezco, which I love.
Ooh, that's a good one. Yeah.
I won the Atticus Doom last year on the 112 day, which is awesome.
Yep.
And I have the original Blade Mezco in the box that my brother gave me because like my brother and I, huge Blade fans, right?
Dude, I have them over here.
So those three, they're not open and it's such a great figure.
He's amazing.
It's such a great figure.
Yep.
So those three I have in their boxes, and they're usually within arm's reach. And every so often, I will just like go to the dining room table, open them up, and then like play with them and enjoy. Let's be honest here, I'm playing with them,
Oh yeah.
Play with them, just like pose them, do some cool shit or whatever, and then I'll pack them up and put them back for like another like 6 months down the line, where I'm like, I think I'm gonna hang out with that Blade figure again.
Yeah,
and then like for some reason, just like I have some room, but like I just refuse to display them. I don't know why. It's just like a weird thing in my brain where I'm like, I want to keep the sanctity of these figures. I think because it's like they're packaged so nicely and all that, especially the Nemo. The Nemo's like nuts.
Yeah, dude, I am a huge Mezco fan. That was, I think, you posted a Gambit shot, right? That one, was that the one that won? Or I was like, I was so proud of you. I was like, look at Rich guy. He just won a Mezco Monday. That's awesome.
The one that won was I did a reverse flash, but I did a little camera trick with it where I did a very slow shutter speed.
Okay.
And I just kind of moved it a little bit, so it looked like it was running and blurry.
That's awesome. Yeah.
And it it worked, and like I know it's a random,
Yeah.
but like it won, which was cool.
No, I mean I won one, and it was I who did I get? I won with the Hawk. I know that he's like not people's favorite Mezco, but I love this Hawk, and I will forever love him because he was the subject of my Mezco Monday, and I got Deadpool out of it.
Oh, that's a cool Deadpool.
It's such a
I've never seen that one. Like, I don't think my brother has that one. I don't like, he's like really into the Mezcos too.
Yeah.
But I've never seen that one up close. That's a cool Deadpool. What's your favorite Mezco that you have and of all time?
Oh, that's so tough. You know what? No, it's not tough. All right, my favorite all time is the Reeves Superman. Like, this is by far. I love this one. I know you have him too. Like, he's just absolutely he's a stunner. It's perfect. He's everything from I would have wanted in toy form as a kid.
Absolutely.
Like there's nothing else to say about it. It's just if you have any admiration for Christopher Reeve's Superman, like this is my favorite Mezco. And dude, I mean, I could start going one by one. Like Moon Knight has a special place in my heart because he was my first one.
Okay.
Like I got the Thor Ragnarok. At the Comic-Con, we bumped into each other.
Oh, right on.
I got him and Aquaman that day. So it's like I have all of these little like sense of that's me being kind of a hoarder where I attach all these emotions to these things. But
I do the same thing.
But they make them fun for me, like it's like, oh. So I mean, yeah, Reeves is probably my favorite just from the look standpoint. But Moon Knight has that special place, and man, I mean, that Blade is fantastic. I mean, I have the Cable and Cyclops combo, and like I don't mind to help some people knock like the PJ look of them, and I get it. So then it's not for them, like if this is for us. Like if you're not into it, then there's plenty of other. That's why Mafex has those awesome comic lines, like
my God,
the Revel Tech and like the stuff that they're doing. So, I just always have such an affinity for anything Mezco does because of like the texturing and the look of just they're little dolls. They're little dolls. And yes, it is playing with your toy. Like I Wednesday, I had a snow day, which was so nice because my kids had school, my wife had school. So they left, and I had like
Mhm.
4 hours where I could come to my basement and just play. And I specifically was playing with another Mezco, which the John Constantine,
Oh, very
which
cool.
I highly recommend if you can get your hands on this guy. Because oh man, the jacket is a pain. I'm not gonna lie, the
Mm.
jacket's a pain, but everything else about him, he's got 4 head sculpts. He has all the magic tricks that you could want. I mean, he's. I could be shooting him for a long time. He's awesome. Just
You
as
know,
an
you know,
FYI.
you know what's funny about that Constantine is I totally passed on it, and then my brother got it, and he
Mhm.
started posting a bunch of pictures on his page, and then a lot of like you and everybody else started posting pictures of the Constantine, and I'm like, God damn it, that's a cool looking figure.
Yeah.
So there's a short list of stuff that I still want to get, and if I
Yeah.
see it like, and the interesting thing about the Mezcos is I think really depending on where you go, like where you're on the East Coast, right? Are you
Yeah.
in
Yeah. I'm in New Jersey.
you're in Jersey, right? Okay.
Yeah.
I think depending on where you go, if you take like road trips or anything, you'll
Mhm.
see a lot of the same figures at various prices, and I
Right.
think like there's an interesting market for it where like I had sold this is one of those like seller's remorse kind of things.
Hmm.
Like I had sold the Mezco Ragnarok Hulk a couple of years ago,
Oh, okay.
just
Yeah.
because it was like I didn't open it, it was big and clunky, and
Hmm.
I sold it to some dude for like a couple $100,
Yeah.
and I was like, all right, cool, whatever, goodbye. I didn't really have space for it because it's like a big figure,
Yeah. He's a big bet. Yeah.
And then like now I'm like, oh, I've seen this thing for like $75. Like maybe one day I'll just like get it back. And like, when
Yeah.
I don't know if you do this, but like, I'm sure you do. Like my wife and I are big on like road tripping, so like we'll go to like one of our last trips, like we went to Maine a few times in the last couple of years or whatever, and
Hmm.
like just driving through like New England, and I always make it a point to stop at like not every single collectible store, but most collectible stores.
Yeah.
And it's very interesting to see A, what they have, and B, like how much they're going for. And I find that the Mezcos are usually pretty like decently priced, and the
Yeah.
legends command a lot more money,
It's
you know.
bizarre, and and I mean, I've seen stuff all over the place. I've
Yeah.
seen like excellent deals on Mezco things, and then I've seen them where I'm like, "You're out of your mind! Like, what are you like?
Yeah.
What are you thinking with this
Yeah.
price?"
Especially at
Um,
Comic-Con. I think this year
yeah,
specifically. Did you go to
I
this past
did.
year's?
Yeah,
Did
I
you
run.
feel like the folks there were kind of like really overcharging for no reason?
Yeah. I mean,
Right.
maybe it was just again, like with when you're in this collecting world, and then
Hmm.
if you're doing, like if you're selling, you may have also like I felt like I bought way too much in the last couple of years. I know that. I know that
Yeah,
there's
yeah, yeah.
stuff that like I bought that I was planning on photographing, and then it just never happens. So it's like I'm in that stage where for me 2023, I'm like very careful about what comes in. I'm trying to move, clear out some shelf space, just because there's
Hmm.
always new stuff. There's always new stuff, and I have been trying to break like the sentimentality, like I was just mentioning, with some stuff, like where it's like, all
Yeah.
right, do I really need that one? No. Um, but yeah, it's all over. It's bizarre, and I'm wondering if it was people feeling like I got to get rid of this stuff or make the most I can. Maybe they felt like a bubble was bursting, but yeah, the prices were nuts. Like I waited for the Mafex Dark Knight Superman. I ended up buying the SHF Figure Arts Buzz Lightyear, which is a phenomenal
I
figure. That
know.
was.
It's
Did
on
you
my
get? Did you
list.
get it?
It's
Yeah,
on my list. Yeah.
he's real good, and you can get him now super cheap. So I bought him for a clean $100.
Okay.
But in negotiating at this booth, I was like, well, I have in my pile of loot, or like I have it pre-ordered, is that Mafex Dark Knight Superman. And
Mhm.
the guy's like, yeah, but this is 125. I'm like, okay. I'm like, but I have it pre-ordered for 105. I'll cancel it. And just he goes, no, you pay that because I have it. Like I have it, and you have to wait for yours. I'm like,
Yeah.
well, then I guess I'm going to wait for it, but I'll still take that buzz. And now, like
Very weird.
that Superman, that Mafex, like at least on Amazon, I've seen it for 85. Which
Yeah.
again, I'm not sneezing at these prices, but for me, I'm trying to get the most bang for my buck. And when you
Yep.
do go for Mezco, Mafex, Sentinel, some of these name brands, like they're really good. They're really good. and they give you so much to play with.
No, they do. It's true. Like so, like last year, let's talk a little more about the Mezco stuff, and then kind of I
Yeah,
want to talk about the legends with you also.
yeah.
Because the legends are huge, and I know
Mm.
like a lot of my buddies, like I'm in like a toy chat with like a few friends, and it's all legends all the time, pretty much.
Right.
So I last year I was like I started working for this company doing like a lot of freelance stuff, and then it was like such a slog that I was like, you know what, I'm gonna see the light of day at this point, and what I'm gonna do is this is the first time I've ever done this. I'm gonna treat myself to a retail Conan the Barbarian Mezco figure,
There you go.
and $250 later, so satisfied. It was honestly like getting the box and opening it, and I'm a huge Conan fan.
Hmm.
I think it's definitely top three of the Mezcos that I own. I would say Conan, Cyclops, and probably the Nemo are my
Yeah.
three favorite ones. Like what about you? Like what are your top three
Ooh,
Mezcos?
that Nemo. So like, I see you're somebody too that now is like selling me on it because I've had him in many carts over many websites. I just never
Yeah.
pulled the trigger on him, but I still might. People, oh man, like the Atticus Doom that you mentioned. So this is the one with the magical head pack.
Oh
Like
yeah.
like he's a blast to play with because he has so much stuff with him, you know. I just did a figure trade and ended up getting the Mezco John Wick, and people knock like the single jointed elbows. He's like on an older buck, but that figure you can't like Mezco when especially when they were delivering us multiple head sculpts, and that's what they did
Yes.
with Constantine. You
Hmm.
get the regular and then battle damage versions, like that deluxe Wolverine. I'm still like, should I
Same
do
here.
it? Like 8 head sculpts, you get all
Are
throughout
you are
all of these
you
comic ranges.
let me ask you something very specific now.
Yeah,
Are you of the same mindset where I look at that figure and I'm like, holy shit, this Wolverine is effing awesome, right?
yeah,
And then I turn around and go, all right, I've spent a lot of money on Wolverines in over the course of my entire life. Do I really need the one more Wolverine? Right? Like, do you feel the
yeah,
same way? Where it's like, I got
yeah,
tons of Wolverine shit, and I got Wolverine stuff that's like packed up and like in
yep,
Ziploc bags and like in storage. Like, do I need the extra? But then, like you said, ooh, it comes with 8 heads. Oh, classic Wolverine. Like
right,
I'm a sucker for like first appearance, like
yeah,
where like that Dave Cockrum kind of look where
yeah,
he's got like the little black lines on the mask and like the
yep.
short ears. Love it.
So did you get that one?
I did
or,
not.
or no? I see.
I
I
did not.
didn't. I didn't either. And I held them up before, but I have this Mezco Wolverine, and then I have a million Legend versions of
Yeah.
Wolverine, and I was in the same boat.
Mm.
And I'm like, that Sentinel base is amazing, and I've seen it even for price. I think I saw it for like 125. Like
Well, that's
it's
not
been
bad.
on sale. Like
Yeah.
it's sitting out there, and I'm still just like, I know what I would be getting. In terms of like the Mezco Wolverine. I like
Yeah.
that. There's that piece that kind of goes away. Like so. That's the problem that I've been finding, that a little bit of the wow factor has
Mm.
started to dissipate because they've blown me away so many times that now it's like John Wick. I'm like, oh, look at all these cool, like the trait. He has the
Mm.
crate and the little trays and the gold coins. I'm like, but I have a crate that's a different color. I have
Mm.
the gold coins from a different thing from Mez. It's all from Mezco. It's just
Yeah.
like this would have been a lot cooler if I opened it like a couple of years ago when I didn't have any of this other stuff. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
why
No, for
I
sure.
and that's why I like the Constantine. But even the Constantine, like he came with, I was blown away by. I was like, thankfully they gave us 4 head sculpts. Like that to me is so big, giving us that over like some of those other accessories at this point. At least for anything newer that's coming out, I'm like, give me expressive figures, things I can do stuff. Because like accessory with, but that's me, and I know
Yeah.
a lot of people are just. It could be their first Mezco, so like you
Mm.
want them to have that experience. So I
That
don't know.
bang for the buck, I think, is huge too. And Mezco
Yeah.
really does deliver on that stuff because like they're not. I think so. What really this sound bizarre, but what really did it for that Nemo again to bring it up again
Yeah.
is the stitching on the outfit, because my brother got his and he sent me a picture of
Okay.
his and I was like, oh man, that's like really well made, you know?
Yeah.
And honestly, like I don't have any affiliate program, but if you're gonna get one, Jim, I think you need to get the
Yeah.
Nemo. You know, the Nemo is friggin' rad. It comes with a lunchbox and it's
Oh,
perfect,
that's
you
yeah.
know, like it's really cool.
Yeah.
But you know, like and they do a good job with the pre-orders, and I'm kind of glad some of the stuff is late. Like I have two things. I have the Leatherface on pre-order. So I'm a
Mm,
big Leatherface fan. It's like really
yeah.
I love horror stuff, but that's like I never buy horror shit, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
The Leatherface looks so cool that I did the pre-order for it, and I don't know if you're in the same boat, but I'm really waiting for that Keaton Batman to drop.
Oh, I yeah.
2019 was the pre-order, right? I think like almost
I
4
think
years,
it's
right?
I think it just hit the 3-year anniversary recently.
Wow. Okay.
3 full years of yeah. So I'm on the wait list, and
Mhm.
I did the wait list. You brought up Conan. I'm waiting for them to process or ship me the Conan the Conqueror, which I'm super pumped
Oh,
about
cool. Yeah,
because
yeah.
I missed that first one too, and I was
Mhm.
like, am I gonna? But now I'm like, oh my god, he could fit in with Mythic Legions. You know, like I could have all of it. Like
Yes.
ideas started
Yes.
brewing, and the fact that Conan the Conqueror, and I know they're gonna do Conan the King too, right?
Yes.
But I'm
I'm
like
skipping
this.
the Conqueror and waiting for the
I'll wait for
Conan
the
the King
King.
one. Yeah.
So I jumped on the Conqueror because I'm like, oh, it's basically both versions because
Yeah.
you strip him down and he's the original Conan, you know, Conan the Barbarian, and then you can
Mhm.
have the Conqueror. So yeah, the King is gonna look awesome too. But yeah, so I'm fingers crossed that like I got an email that it was like your first payment attempt failed. I'm like, no, I promise my credit card's good.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
But then it shows up in my balance as pending, so I'm like, I think I'm okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm stoked about that. You know who I didn't bring up? You mentioned that the lunchbox was Vapor. Vapor is one of my favorite Mezcos, and probably one I've photographed the most out of all of them. To be perfectly honest,
Do you have it handy, like net, like near you?
I I don't think so. Where did I put him? I think he's in my dial right now.
Yeah. Yeah,
Oh, did I have him around? I don't know. Sorry, this yeah.
it's fine.
Yeah, somewhere. I had him in a
It
wrestling
happens.
shirt the other day. He's always my ref when I do wrestling photography. He's always my
uh,
ref.
that's
So,
awesome.
he's somewhere. But yeah, he's
Yeah.
amazing, dude. And it actually made me kick myself for skipping the burner edition, like
Okay.
that all white version.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, but I was happy with him. I'm like he's so just he could be used in anything. You know, my
Mhm.
goofy stories. He's always like a joke guy because he's got the 4 different heads and they're all so expressive. But yeah,
Yeah.
I love that Vapor. That Vapor is a great one.
Awesome.
Yeah, I don't know, man. There's just so many good. Like they all make me happy. That's the whole thing. Every Mezco, the only one I've ever been sad about was I bought a Catwoman on Amazon with a gift card.
Mhm.
And she showed up, and as I went to bend the arm, like it was the leg, I think, and the leg was snapped. And I'm like, oh. So like,
Oh, that's a
and I
shame.
heard that there was some other issue, you know. So I was like, I never replaced her. I just shipped her back.
Mhm.
Uh, but other than that, man, I'm like I need to shoot Harley more, like this classic one. They're
That's a
always
great figure. Yeah.
dude, and she has like 3 or 4 head sculpts, and they're all
Mhm.
amazing. And again, little like textured balls on it. Like it's just everything is so
It's
great
super
about
cool.
these. Yeah.
I got what happened? I got the Gila Ragnarok from eBay once,
Yeah.
right?
Okay. Yeah.
And I got a great deal on it, and the dude sent me the wrong figure. He sent me the Joker,
Oh,
right? So I
which
was
one?
like, "Hey, um, you sent me the." I showed him the package. I was like, "You sent
Yeah.
me the wrong figure, dude. Like, I'm not trying to rip you off or anything."
Yeah.
And he was like, "I'm really sorry. I kind of knew I sent you the wrong figure. Why don't you keep it, and I'll just send you the Gila on Monday?" Great, you know.
Okay. Yeah.
So I was like, I played with the Joker a little bit, and it's awesome. And I was like, you
Yeah.
know what? I don't need this figure right now. So I just like threw it back on eBay and like resold it,
Yeah.
you know.
Right.
But that Hella figure is great. You know, like there's a lot of underrated ones. Like, and like you said with
Yeah.
the price thing, like I was, you ever go to Forbidden Planet downtown?
I've probably, but it's been a while. But I know the name. I
Yeah,
know the name. Yeah.
it's on like 12th and Broadway, and like every year they do like a big Black Friday sale. I ended
Mhm.
up picking up the Chadwick Boseman Black Panther for like $30 there. And that's another one that's such
Dude.
a great figure,
Yeah,
right?
there he is. I told you
Awesome.
when it comes to Mezco, I could just be like, oh, I have a lot.
Yeah. And there's a
That's a
lot of
great
like
price
there's.
too.
Do you also feel the same way where it's like, do you limit yourself because like I'll do the Mezcos. They're sort of like, I don't want to say prioritized, but it's like,
Mhm.
you know, me personally, I'm like, all right, I'll get the Storm collectible stuff because I like
Yeah.
all the IPs that they have. You know, they're doing
Mhm.
Samurai Showdown, they're doing
Yeah.
some of the cool wrestling stuff. You know, like they just did that Minoru Suzuki. That's a
Oh,
Ringside
right.
Collectibles exclusive. They did the Liger figure. I have like a
Hmm.
Hogan from them, which is incredible. I don't know if you've ever seen that one. It's like I got like
I
a
don't.
red and yellow Hulk Hogan from them.
I,
That was like $40. Great
yeah.
figure.
Yeah. 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 I know. I do
Um,
know it. Yeah.
so I'll do the Storm, the Mezcos, the Legends, the G.I. Joe Classifieds, and also like the Mythic Legions if I can get them like on the cheap, you know?
Sure. Right.
But then I'll see the Mafex figures. I'll see I'll like the Revoltech
Hmm.
figures, like the Hokkaido figures, right?
Yeah. Well,
Oh
I
no,
only have
what am I thinking of?
the Yamaguchi.
The Yamaguchi ones, like the
Yeah.
hyper stylized, like anime
Yeah.
style ones,
Yeah.
like the cable I really want to get. But it's also
Hmm.
like, do I need to open this can of worms? You know? And then there's what was the other toy brand that I'm thinking of? Like at Mafex, the Yamaguchi ones, and there's something else that I know I'm missing where I'm like, I can't dive into this. Oh, the figure arts figures,
Oh, right. Right. Right.
you know, because like in my nerd head, I'm like, they're not really to scale, so maybe I don't
Yeah.
need to get them, you know. But I do have a Cammy figure, and I think that Cammy figure is like one of the and Super Seven. Every so often,
Yeah.
I'll get like one or two Super Seven
Hmm.
figures.
Super.
Do you? Good.
Oh no, I was just gonna say Super Seven goes for like our childhood nostalgia. Like that's
Yeah.
their whole thing is like we're gonna grab your little child heart and squeeze it and make you want this thing.
Yeah.
I've only dabbled. I do have the set of turtles, but I've never unboxed them.
Mhm.
And I have the shredder, which I did unbox. And I'm
Yeah.
because I like to experience. I'm very fascinated by toy engineering and how these
Oh
companies
yeah.
go about trying to
Yeah.
maximize the things that we want while trying, to save costs. Like we know what it is. It's a business, like there's no one perfect action figure, like there's just not.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
But I'm with you on Storm. Like I only have a reptile, but a buddy of mine is about to
Mhm.
sell me a Ryu, which I'm so fired up
Ooh,
for because
nice.
like he's always
Cool.
been my favorite. He was gonna give me Ryu and Ken, and he goes, "Oh, I just realized Ken was autographed. I kind of want to keep it." I'm like, "It's okay, buddy.
Yeah.
Like, I'll
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
take
Yeah.
that. Like Ryu was my guy anyway. That was all
Mhm.
right."
Totally fine.
Yeah. So yeah, they blew me away. That reptile figure, how that was engineered with like a plastic squishy, like I'm
Yeah.
like, that's how it gets all the articulation. Like I'm always fascinated. Like and with the Revoltech or Revoltech,
Mhm.
these names I'm always butchering their
Yeah.
pronunciations.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but I have the Deadpool, and I spent hours just figuring out how the legs move because I kept popping them off because it's
Oh
like
wow.
that's a whole nother it's a whole nother thing.
Mhm.
And then to like learn how to block their big, the Revoltech like circular joints, like, but you can in the
Right.
photography. It's a skill and a challenge, but then it takes, like I know if I'm going to shoot that Deadpool, I'm looking at like a 30-minute setup and like 20 minutes of me playing around and swapping the eyes
Yeah.
just to like
Yeah.
get the look right. But yeah, so I know what you mean, dude. Mezco for me was the first brand. Going back to your initial thought of like I knew that was a rabbit hole I was going to immediately lose myself
Yes.
into because,
Yeah.
like I said, I have that affinity for, like that just the look of the real clothes and
Mhm.
the doll like, way they were and where they are. And man, when I got that first one, it was that I told you my Moon Knight. And that was it. I started grabbing everybody at
Yeah.
retail. Like that's how I scooped up Black Panther. I'm trying to think who else. Literally anybody selling them in group chats. I'm like, I'll take that. Yep, I will take
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
I'll get that off your hands. I was saying yes to everything, and now like I'm happy. I'm at a point where I'm like, there's so many more I can go for, but I also have a thing about like I sell on eBay, but
Yeah. Yeah.
I try not to pay over retail or like what I
Yeah.
knew I can get. Like I'm because it's everybody's got their own price. That's the $1 billion man, right? Everybody's got their price. So
Yeah.
like for me, like, hey, if somebody wants this that's a fair market value, well, cool. But like I try to be very smart about that in terms of what I buy. So like I don't have
Mhm.
a Doc Nocturnal. Like he's one of the Rumble guys that either version would be super cool to own, the black or the red. And I'm like, yeah, but not for eBay prices.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. 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 I'm the same way. I'm the same way.
yeah.
'Cause I think that's also coming from like, when I was in college, I worked for a comic shop out in Long Island, and also like I've maintained a relationship with that store, so I still get my
Mhm.
comics from them every week.
Nice.
And you kind of get used to not paying retail, not to sound like an elitist collector, but like you kind of
Yeah.
get used to not paying retail for like a lot of stuff, and I
Right.
always go for like a nice deal on like eBay or for comics and for figures, or
Hmm.
things like that. And like this year for Christmas, like usually like I'm very easy, so like if
Yeah.
somebody's like, hey, what could I get you for Christmas, like my wife's family, I was like, just get me eBay gift cards. And they're like, really? I'm
Right.
like, yeah, I'm gonna buy a bunch of shit,
Yeah.
like you're not gonna buy me the thing I want. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like if I'm
Right.
like, I'm missing the Halmaru Storm collectible figure from Samurai Showdown, you're
Yeah.
not gonna get, chances are right over the
Yep.
head. It's not gonna happen. But if I say, hey, you know what? Amazon gift cards, eBay gift cards, that's cool. Like I'll take care of it. And I'm very happy with that. I'll
Oh
get
yeah.
joy out of it.
Yeah.
Um but yeah, like the Mezco stuff, like I feel like we've talked a lot about the Mezco stuff, as you know what, and they do deserve the attention,
Yeah.
where they are the most authentic, I think, out
Yeah.
of all the lines of figures. And I think if the Mafex figures did like hyper realistic clothing, that might be a contender.
Um, I'm with you.
Because I think the stitching and the
Yeah.
clothing really make those Mezcos,
Right.
coming from like the old Mego figures, and like when
Yeah.
we were kids, I'm sure you read Wizard magazine,
Hmm.
and like almost every issue was about how cool Migos were.
They were awesome. I
And
know. I never had any.
Ron, yeah, my brother had them, and I
Yeah.
think when he went to college, he sold a bunch of them for like a good chunk of change, and he's
Nice.
like a
Yeah.
little bit older than I am. And he had like a bunch of them too, and like they were like, and you see them at cons now, and you're like, yeah, I get it, they're cool,
Hmm.
very nostalgic at this point in 2023, and these figures are like 50 plus years old.
Right.
It's very fascinating to kind of see that.
Yeah.
Talk to me about Marvel Legends.
Oof. Well, so I'm in one of those where I have a million. Like this is just like my shelves back there. Those are all.
Wow.
This is. I'm over. I've stopped wanting complete waves now.
Okay.
Like
Yeah.
I was doing that. I think the Mr. Hyde was my first build a figure wave where I'm like,
Oh,
I
cool.
just, I just bought all of the toys that can make a thing. Like I had never
Mm.
done that in my life before. I'm like, I'm gonna build this figure. And I got into that habit of wanting to do that. But yeah, I guess I'm at a point where I have anybody that I'd want to
Mm.
photograph or tell a story with. Like and I've been bad because some people pick a lane like MCU or they'll just go comic. And for me, I was doing it
Mm.
all because I love both
Yeah.
versions. I love the MCU and I love comic books. So I have a ton of Spider-Man figures that more than I'll ever shoot in my life, but I will
Oh,
try.
yeah.
You know?
For sure. Like, you know what? Spidey, like I was saying before, where it's like I've given enough money to Wolverine,
Yeah, yeah,
Spider-Man, I've a lot of Spider-Man shit also. And I
yeah,
kind of feel like there's a lot in the tank when it comes to like getting cool Spider-Man stuff. Like
yeah.
I'll give you a good example. Like I found this guy, which
Oh yeah.
I found on sale about 3 weeks ago. If you're just listening to the audio of this I held up the Cyborg Spider-Man in like the retro packaging. Um, I was having such a hard time finding that figure. Comic-Con people wanted like $50 for it, and I was like, I don't really
Mm,
want to spend $50 for it.
sure.
I ordered a bunch of stuff from Target one day for
Hmm.
delivery to our place, and I was like, oh, let me check out what they got, and it was there for like $19. This is like 3 weeks ago. So I just
Yeah.
put it in the cart, boom, sent it. And I was
Nice.
like looking at it. I'm like, I don't even want to open it. I just love how it looks in the
I know.
package.
Yeah. Oh, I have him over here because of course I do.
Ah, awesome.
he's,
Yeah.
dude, he's great. And he's on that, the original, older style, older style buck.
Yeah.
But with his figure, it doesn't really matter. But then, and this is a cool thing about the
Mm.
toy community on Instagram is like I know a buddy that took this
Mm.
and like popped it all, like used the hot water and popped them all apart and ended up
Mm.
using a Renew Your Vows Spidey
Oh,
to make
wow.
a new cyborg Spidey. Everything just, and it was like no
Wow.
permanent damage, just needed the
Yeah.
heat, and he was able to swap everything off, and now you have all of that articulation on with Cyborg. It's
That's
really
really
cool.
cool. That's
Yeah.
really cool. Send me that if you posted it, like send it
Oh
to me
yeah,
because
yeah,
I would
yeah.
love to take a
Okay.
look at that.
I will
Um,
absolutely.
but like I know I'll always spend money on like Spider-Man stuff, and it's
Same.
nuts. Like for my 40th, um, this is like the open secret. My wife ordered me the Miles Morales sideshow figure, right?
Nice. Yeah.
And it took about 2.5 years to get here, and like God bless her, she was like, "Are you sure? Like you don't want anything else?" I'm like, "No,
Yeah.
I'll wait. Oh, I'll
Yeah.
wait." Like,
Yeah.
and it came. It I think it got here in November 2022.
Okay. Yeah.
And it was like a good like year and a half or so since she ordered it. And I was like, nope, this is gonna be. It was the most satisfying thing. So like, I got a bunch of Miles Morales stuff. I got a bunch of Peter Parker
Yeah.
stuff. I know I'll always spend money on cool Spider-Man shit, right?
Always.
I
Always.
got that figure arts Toei Japanese Spider-Man, and I
Hmm.
refuse to open it until I find another one. Because I
Fair.
want
Yeah.
like the double of that.
Yeah.
And I know I'll always spend money on Star Wars shit. I don't know how you feel about the Star Wars, but
So I enjoy Star Wars. What
mm,
actually so real quick, just
mm,
before we leave Spidey,
yeah.
dude, Sentinel stuff
Oh,
is
cool.
awesome. Sentinel's great, and this is like the only, if you can get this figure for cheap, this is the Spider Robot with Penny Parker. She
Oh,
is
that's
just a
awesome.
little statue, but I've seen it now down to like $60 on GameStop.
Oh,
Like
that's not bad.
it lights up,
Cool.
and it's got a little. So I like, dude, I love Sentinel.
Mm.
As an they've been around for a while, but in terms of doing these Spider-Man figures, but yeah, I'm with you. I just had to throw that out there because yeah, anything Spidey. I currently have the Mafex classic suit Spider-Man in my pile of loot, and I have the translucent Sentinel Miles, like because it's
Mm.
Spidey and I want them.
I
Sorry.
also
So,
I pre-ordered that Mezco
oh, did you get
Spider-Man.
the
Oh my
Spider-Man?
god.
Did you get the Goblin too?
No, I didn't get the Goblin. I just got
Okay.
like the Spidey because I'm like, it looks so cool.
It
And it
does.
looks so it's like it looks like it's the suit is stitched so perfectly.
Yeah, I know. And see, now that's one that I had passed on because
Mm.
it was in this moment of, oh my God, how many toys have I pre-ordered? How many toys are,
Yeah.
do I have here? Like I felt that inundation of like, oh God. And I do have a Spidey though, Mezco, because
Oh yeah.
I want a
Very
Spidey in
nice.
every line. I want, like I want to see what a company does with a Spider-Man. So that Spidey 29, I love this figure for the record. Like I love him. He can get so dynamic too with his posing.
Yeah,
Like,
that's a cool outfit. They did a really good job with the costume on that one.
yeah. I just had to.
Do you do the GI Joes at all or no?
So I do. I have a whole tub of them. I
Mm.
stopped. That was actually a line I was falling into as a completionist because like
Mm.
they're numbered and everything is just so I'm like,
Yeah.
just keep trying to get the numbers. I finally have been able to just like again pick and choose. Like I got
Mm.
Recondo in just recently.
Cool.
One of the Python Patrol, one of these neon shirt ones,
Oh, right on.
officers.
Cool.
So no, I love my Joes, and a line that I'm avoiding currently because of the reason we talked about, like just I know it's another rabbit hole is
Mm.
the Valaverse, the Action Force stuff.
Yeah.
I it looks really good. Like there's a swarm figure, this black and gold, and you can get the wing set. And I'm like, if I get that, then I'm gonna have this whole nother line that I'm gonna be chasing down, and I just can't right now. So
I
I
do.
just avoid them.
I want to say my brother got that, and I think he sent me a picture of that like 2 weeks ago. And
Yeah,
I'm like, oh, it's so cool. I can't do it.
I know.
Because he'll go, not like God bless my older brother. He's great, and he's probably
Yeah,
listening to this too. But he'll go to stores and he'll go like anywhere. He'll like it's the same thing. Like anytime he's at a store, he'll say like, hey, they got this. You want me to get it for you? And
right.
more often than not, sometimes I'll like pass on it. But like for example, like the other day, he's like, hey, um, I found a Ulick from Marvel Legends if you want it,
Okay.
and the new Snake Eyes with Timber, and they
Oh,
were both on sale. And I'm like,
yeah,
yeah, like please, that Ulick looks awesome,
yeah.
and I want to pose it with I think my favorite figure of last year was as far as Marvel Legends go, it was that Thor figure, the one that came with the ravens and like the
Oh,
redesign of the costume.
yeah, that was a cool one. That was like one of those figures where I could just tell myself, like, I'll just enjoy the photography of it. Like that's
Yeah.
how I've been able to just kind of break my FOMO in that, especially with Legends, where it's
Mhm.
like I have to be a lot smarter about what I'm going to be buying. Unless it's a deal. Like I just got Umbaku for $7, and I'm
Oh, right on.
like he's a rad character. I love the movie. You know, like, I didn't get to see
Yeah.
Black Panther 2 yet. I'm still waiting for Disney Plus to drop it. But
I
I'm
think
like, I
two
love that
weeks.
character. Yeah, it should be pretty soon.
Mm.
But yeah, I was like, all right, even 12. I'm like, I want him, but 12. And then like I just kept waiting, and it got down to 1. And when I scanned him, he was 7. So I'm like, all right. Like,
Oh, right on.
but
That's
yeah,
cool.
so like I'm legend wise, it's just being so smart. For like, I'm trying to be smart for myself and my credit card about what's coming in.
Yes. Yeah, yeah.
That's
You gotta
really what
gotta
it is.
gotta keep an eye on the pocket.
Yeah.
Well, that was like sometimes I'll go into these things where I'm like, all right, if I unload a bunch of figures and kind of take it easy with the 112 scale stuff,
Mm-hmm.
maybe I can start getting more sideshow stuff. But again,
Yeah.
that's another rabbit hole that I don't think I'm ready for, because those figures are like a couple $100 and like, they're
Yeah.
like too high end. I don't know, man. It's
No, dude.
like the philosophies and thoughts of these are
Yeah.
definitely like champagne first world problems here. Like
Oh,
what
absolutely.
figures do I buy?
I absolutely always acknowledge, like, at the end of the day, I'm fortunate, like I would love to
Yes.
make more.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a public school teacher. Like, would I like to
Yeah.
make more money? Sure. But like, I'm talking about buying more toys. So like, like I'm not doing okay. I'm fortunate for being able to do what I'm able to
Yeah.
do, and get what
How
I
old
can
are the
get.
kids that you teach?
Seventh and eighth grade. So 12 to 14. It's that
Okay. Do they
middle
know about
school,
your
man.
figures?
I talk about them as, I don't promote my stuff to them, but I will tell them, like, like
Hit that
I'm a,
like button.
yeah, I'm a teacher, but like that doesn't just define, like, what you get paid to do doesn't define who you are.
Right,
I'm also a
right.
photographer, and did you know that there's things called toy photography? Like, so yeah, but I want kids to know that, like, I
Yeah.
did not have that guy at that age that was like, oh, he's just straight up happy, and he talks about stuff that he likes
Mhm.
regardless of like whatever stigmas people would put on them,
Right,
like
right.
like it's really like this point of human existence.
Mhm.
Enjoy what you enjoy, as long as it doesn't affect anybody. Like,
Exactly, exactly.
makes
That's
me
a healthy
happy.
way to approach it.
Yeah, I'm one of the hardest working people in that building, like,
Mhm.
like I will get stuff done, but then I'm also going to play with toys on my time off.
Do you bring your figures to school with you, like put them in your pocket, and then on your lunch break just like bust
Dude,
it out?
I will absolutely, yes. I have pocket figures. I will bring or like, I just had open recently. Speaking of, you're talking about figure arts. I got the Batman.
Oh, cool.
And so he had all this. So yeah, like I was like, I'm just gonna play with him during my lunch. I have my my little Cliff Bar, just posing them, just learning about the articulation of them,
That's
swapping
awesome.
hands. So yeah, man. I mean, dude, it brings me happiness. That's why would I deprive myself of something that is going to bring me joy and doesn't hurt anybody?
Absolutely, man. It's great. Like I like the idea of a pocket figure. We went on a road trip not too long ago, and I brought the NECA Quint figure with me from Jaws,
Oh yeah,
because we were going to the Narragansett brewery and everything, and I'm like, in the movie he's crushing the Narragansett cans.
yeah.
So like I'm in the middle of the a packed brewery, and then I bust this thing out, and then I bust my camera out. And you know what? Honestly, like a couple of people were just like gave a little tip of the hat, and
Yeah.
they were like, "Yo, that's an awesome figure." And I'm like, "Yeah, check it out. The hat comes off and blah 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 blah." But that's a lot of fun. I'm gonna get you out of here in a few minutes. I got a couple more questions. One, what has been your favorite figure to shoot?
Ooh, man. Um, that's a really good question, man. Wow. Because like it is, it's tough. I would say character wise would
Mhm.
be Deadpool is like
Okay.
my favorite character, but because I own him over Legends, Mezco, and the Rebel Tech, that like they all, depending on what I need to get out of him, what I
Mhm.
need him to emote or what I need him
Yeah.
to do, it'll be one of those. But I love shooting Deadpool just because he's the best. He can break the fourth wall. He can
Mhm.
have commentary. He can be in a realistic scene, or he can just be the jackass in the background, like
Yeah.
mocking, like, look at these idiots. like I've had the most use and most fun shooting any Deadpool stuff. Like, it's so Deadpool as a character is probably my favorite one to shoot. Um, and then figures, I don't know, man. That's part of, I guess, being like a toy guy on the
Yeah.
internet. And like you were saying, like, getting the new stuff in. It's like, yeah, like as smart as I'm trying to be, like there is that. Well, I guess I do have to get some of the newness, and then I want to shoot the new stuff. So
Right.
it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's tough. It's a tough question, Rich. It's a tough
I
question,
know
man.
it's hard. It's hard. I think it's also like you kind of go like, oh, this is my favorite thing now. And
Right.
then, which is not discounting your other figures, but I'll give you a good example. Like this,
Yeah.
I'm completely obsessed with this figure. The animated Cyclops figure from like the 90s X-Men show, which I'm also
Yeah.
very obsessed with.
Yeah.
But I'm a sucker for 90s Cyclops, and this figure is so fantastic, and I can't wait to do some fun like photos with it,
Yeah. And see, and that's somebody I picked up the Jubilee, I picked up the Wolverine, Morph, and I like didn't get him in Storm because I have a couple of really good Legend Storms. And I just got that Mezco this one. And I'm
It's
like,
so cool.
oh, I'm like, do I do so? I have it, but it's like one of those like I could be on Hasbro Pulse one day and just say, all right, I love Cyclops. I'm just going to do it. So it's one of those that's like, I haven't gotten him yet. It's like with the
Okay.
little asterisk.
Now, with that Mezco Cyclops that you just showed me,
Yeah.
did you do the same thing I did? Put the jacket on once and then immediately put it back in the box?
Yeah, well, so the jacket, yeah, I had it, the jacket. I love the look of it. I actually currently, he's sitting on the Black Skull's body, and I
Oh,
put
okay.
John Stewart's head on there, and then I
Mhm.
took Miguel's head from 2099 and put it on the Christmas Gomez body. So I have two like Mezco looking henchman guys
Oh,
to get beat
awesome.
up by Mezco superheroes. So that was it. I wanted to blend,
That's fun.
like Moon Knight was tracking these guys down and having like that textured look. So that's where the jacket is currently. But yeah, I love that jacket. I
It's
do
such a
love that
cool.
jacket.
It's so weird. Like I look at this stuff and like I don't want to use the word dumb like as if it's like like a derogatory term. But
Yeah.
sometimes I'm like playing with this stuff and I'm like, oh, I'm so stupid. Like this this is so dumb. But it's great. It's the best
But
thing on the planet. Like that jacket's
yeah,
ridiculous. The
dude,
tiny
that's what I mean.
little faux leather action figure jacket.
I can't tell you how often, just when people discover either when they come to my house and I'm like,
Mhm.
all right, you want to see the basement? Like you were talking about your in your space, like how many
Yeah,
people
yeah,
like,
yeah.
and I just pull the band-aid off. I'm just like, yeah, let's just look. It's a little bit of a mess. It's kind of like an art studio. And then
Yeah.
the reaction's like, wow, that's a lot of toys. And I'm like, I know. So and then it's like once they start looking,
Yeah.
because like it's the shell. It's a lot of color that gets hit with you.
Mhm.
But then all of a sudden it's like when people start going down and looking at individual, everybody loves toys, Rich. Everybody
Yeah.
loves toys. It's just a matter of admitting it out loud.
Yeah.
that's
Oh,
how
for sure.
that's how
For
I
sure.
am about
Like
it.
I think you're absolutely right. I think there's that like little everybody's got that little spark.
Yeah.
A real quick story too before I ask you one last thing and then let you go. Like my buddy, he does all the classified Cobra guys, right?
Okay.
So he's got like a furnished basement and everything. He's got all his stuff on displayed, and like every time we're at his house with people, if he has a party or something, or his wife has people over, inevitably it's like him. He's in his 40s. We're all in our
Mm-hmm.
early 40s. All the dudes that don't collect action figures gravitate towards that GI Joe shelf, and they're like, "Holy shit, these are awesome!" And he's like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, look at this." And then everybody starts messing around and playing with them. He's like, "Yo, check out the Crimson Guard. It's cool." Like, oh, the
Yeah.
Bat is over in like Snake Eyes is. And it's like, like you said, everybody's got that nice little spark of like,
Mm-hmm.
"Ooh, these things are super cool." All right, Jim, what is your favorite sandwich?
My favorite sandwich.
Yeah.
Ooh. Oh man. I'm gonna go with a classic. If you had to ask me to get, are you a sub or hoagie guy? I don't care. I'm in that spot in New Jersey where I've used both, depending on if I'm North or South Jersey. Like, do you have a preference for sub or hoagie?
Like saying the word sub or
Yeah, saying
hoagie.
the word. Yeah, because people.
I'll use both. I'll also
Yeah,
use both.
yeah. Who cares, right? It's just I know
Yeah.
what I'm talking about. So,
Right.
I would probably get turkey, Swiss, less tomato, onion, a little bit of oil and vinegar sprinkled on a little, shake of pepper on there. That's
Yeah, it's a
probably
good
that's my
sandwich.
go-to. Yeah, good go-to.
Nice. I ask everybody that's on the show like what
Yeah,
their
man.
favorite sandwich is, and it always puts people on the spot too. They're just like, "Oh shit."
Yeah, that's if I was going cold. If I was going warm, give me a nice meatball sub or an eggplant
Oh
parm.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
like, come on.
Today's for me. Today's a meatball sub day. Like I'm
Nice, yeah.
like dying for them. Yeah, like I had a nice run and workout this morning, and
Yeah.
I'm getting hungry, so I'm like, ooh, I'm not gonna get one, but I want
Right.
one.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Now
All
you
right,
make me
Jim.
hungry now.
Where could people? Thank you for very much for doing this. Where could people find you?
All right, so I'm on all the big major socials. So YouTube over here, Yimbo Reviews Everything, Instagram, and TikTok are the big three. I have a Twitter that I don't. I just try to keep up on toy news, but the Twitter is
Maintenance.
like
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. But yeah, yeah, YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok are the big three. Also, I will shout out real quick. There's the Toy Pick Community Instagram. Are you familiar with that account that does
Yeah,
all the
yeah, yeah.
different features? Yeah. So I got to the honor of being asked to be one of the talking heads on
Very cool.
celebrating like a little face of the network. So yeah, on either Wednesdays or Thursdays, but this past Wednesday we went live and to discuss the top 10 of the toy pick community, and it's really cool because we're trying to do a little ESPN style
That's
run
awesome.
down, and it's just I told you I'm raising that I'm flying that flag of toys are awesome and people should enjoy feeling comfortable talking about them. So I will always be wherever I can celebrating, toy photographers everywhere and doing that type of stuff. I'm a joy influencer. That's what I try. I
Oh,
just
I like that. That's
right?
all. That's fantastic. I really do like that.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna
that's
steal that from you, but I do like that a lot.
yeah, try not to be a toy, because there's the toy influencers out there, and we know who they are, and they're awesome at what they do.
Yeah,
So I'm not trying to. I'm just hey, I'm the joy guy, the joy influencer. So
that's
that's
awesome,
my thing.
man.
Yeah.
That's awesome, Jim. Thank you so much for doing this, man. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, Rich. And if seriously, we're gonna have to do some toy photography collabs over on
Yes.
Instagram. I'll have to have you on my stream. This has
Yeah.
been an absolute pleasure, man. Thank you so much for having me.
Please, man. Yeah. Whatever you need, I appreciate it, man. Like, thank you again. All right, I'm gonna stop the recording. That was a lot of fun. As you can see, we're both two hyped adults talking about action figures and toys. Great interview. I love talking to Jim. I want to have him back. That's going to be a lot of fun once we figure out another date and time in the future. He's always welcome on the show. And listen, guys, check out these photos we did of the Mezco Blade figure. Look at that. Look at that. Look at Jim's. Man, that's great. I love Blade so much. And I think a lot of you guys love Blade too. Here's my Blade also. Here it comes. I don't think I did too bad a job. I was kind of thinking of doing something a little funky with another couple of figures, but I couldn't really find anything super vampiric. Regardless, a lot of fun, guys. Our next episode will feature CEO of Mad Cave Studios, Mark London. We talk comics, Mad Cave, and of course, collecting. That seems to be the common thread going through this season so far. A lot of collecting talk. Also, if you want to support the show, please subscribe to this channel. Follow me at BTC Rich on Twitter. Follow me at BTC Rich on Instagram. And I'm going to leave an Entertainment Earth affiliate code for you guys if you want to do some extra supporting. Also, follow Jim at Yimbo Reviews Everything on Instagram. He's a super sweet and super cool dude. And listen, the more positivity we put out there, the more we get back, right? And toy collecting, comic collecting, make it as positive as possible, man. No need to be a jerk about it. Anyway, guys, I'll see you soon. Much love. Mwah.